Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome to our Sinai Temple Shabbat morning service, and happy 4th of July to all of you. And we're so happy to celebrate Shabbat with you. And this Shabbat, we have a special ode to Camp Ramah. As you heard, for those that joined us last week, Rabbi Sherman and I realized that last week would have been the week that we should spend as our rabbis in residence at our beloved Camp Ramah in Ojai, California. And so we're missing Camp Ramah very much. And we wanted to honor our relationship with Ramah, the many memories that are instilled within thousands of Jews each and every summer, and the impact Camp Ramah makes on Jewish identity throughout the world. So we wish you a Shabbat Shalom, and we're so glad you joined us. One of our Camp Ramah favorites.
Od Yavo Shalom, sing with us. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu,
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu,
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Salam, Salam, Aleinu Ve'al Kol Ha'olam. Salam, 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 Aleinu Ve'al Kol Ha'olam. Salam, Salam. Od Yavo.
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu,
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu,
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu,
Ve'al Kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu,
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu.
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam.
We rise for our morning blessings. We are found on page 103. Page 103. There's an interesting question or idea that the Talmud references, and the question is it more important to extend honor on others, or is it more important to receive honor from someone else? And I think the answer may seem obvious. The answer is it's more important to bestow honor upon someone else. And yet I often think we live our lives in the opposite fashion. We think that when you receive honor, that's what builds you up in this world. The titles you hold, or the honors you receive, or the awards you get. And yet our Jewish tradition teaches quite the opposite. God values the person who honors someone else. It's not about what you receive, but it's about what you offer to others. And so when you're able to build someone else up, that's when God looks at you and says, I'm proud of my child. And so that's exactly what we do when we reference our morning blessings. We realize that there's a world that extends far beyond ourselves. We thank God for the ability to look around and open up our eyes and extend gratitude and thanks. In essence, we honor God. Page 103, please rise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan l'tzarech v'hivina halachim min yom u'vein layla.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shesani b'tzal ma'o. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shesani ben chorim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shesani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, pokeach ivri.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish arumim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, atir asurim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, zokef kefufim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, rok haaretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, mechin mitzadei gaver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shesali kol tzorki. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Yisrael b'gevura. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, oter Yisrael b'tifara. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, anoten layav koach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hovir shnei beinai u'nami afapah. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam.
We'll ask those who are in mourning or observing a yard site to remain standing as we turn to page 121. 121 for the Mourners Kaddish. Yit gadal ve'yit kadash shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divra kerute v'yamlich malchute. B'chayechon u'yomechon u'chayi dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevarach la'alam olamei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei dekudisha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru.
Amen.
Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Osei shalom b'mroma hu ya'asei shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru.
On page 122, we'll rise for Baruch She'amar. If you've ever been to Camp Ramah Shabbat morning after an amazing breakfast of fresh blueberries and chocolate muffins,
I was just going to say that too.
Really?
Clearly, we like those breakfasts on Shabbat morning at Camp Ramah.
After those amazing breakfasts, all the Eidot, all of the age groups break off into different tefillot, into different prayer meetings, and you begin hearing joyous melodies from around camp. One of those melodies you hear is this. So please sing with us. Yalai, lalai, lai, yalai, lalai, lai, lalai, lalai, lai, yalai, lalai, yalai, lalai, lai, yalai, lalai, lai, yalai, lalai, lai, yalai, yalai. Baruch she'amar v'haya ha'olam baruch oseh v'rehishit baruch omer v'yoseh baruch ozer u'mekayim baruch merachem al haaretz baruch merachem al habriot baruch meshalem zachar tov lireahav baruch chai la'ad v'kayam lanetzach baruch podel matzil baruch shemo yai lai lai yai lai yai lai 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 yai lai lai yai lai lai yai lai 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 la lai 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 la lai lai la lai la lai la lai lai la lai la lai la lai la lai ya lai lai Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam bat mishpachot.
Amen.
Page 125, the third line, we lift up our voices to God's holy mountain. If you have been to Ojai, you are literally surrounded by God's holy mountains. As you drive into Camp Ramah, page 125, we lift up our voices. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romenu Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romenu Yai la la ya la la ya la la ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 Yai la la ya la la ya la la ya la la ya la 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 ya la la.
One of my favorite things about Camp Ramah is that it's a place of practice and learning. And so I think often we tend to stay silent when the rabbi or the cantor is leading the prayers, and we feel as if we are watching a service rather than participating. But Camp Ramah is, it's a classroom. It's a classroom of learning every single day, and especially on Shabbat. And it's something that we're always trying to model back here in the synagogue. We're always trying to take that classroom of learning, that prayerful learning that we that encapsulates Camp Ramah, and bring it back into the everyday synagogue life. And so we ask that you hold on to that in your heart as well. Don't watch us this morning, but feel free to make mistakes or sing off key, because I'm certainly doing that. But we're having not just fun together, but we're learning together. We're learning to bring prayer into our lives, not just in the hills at Ramah, but as well in each of our living rooms here in Cone Chapel in Westwood. So learn and pray with us. Page 127. 127.
It's a classroom. We learn together.
Adonai Tzuri.
Yiyu leratzon imrefi ve'yon libi lefanecha.
Yiyu leratzon imrefi ve'yon libi lefanecha.
Adonai Tzuri,
Adonai Tzuri,
Adonai Tzuri ve'go.
Sing with us.
Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri ve'go ali. Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri ve'go ali. Oh, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri ve'go ali.
You tell me.
We're gonna do
shir.
Sure, let's do that.
Okay,
and we'll do a
Mizmor
little
Shir,
hallelujah.
page 134.
Mizmor Shir leyom haShabbat, tov leyodo la'Adonai.
Uzamer l'shimcha elyon, uzamer l'shimcha elyon.
Lehagid baboker chasdecha, ve'emunatcha ba'leilot, alei asor ve'aleina ve'alei higayon bechinor. Mizmor Shir leyom haShabbat, tov leyodo la'Adonai.
Uzamer l'shimcha elyon, uzamer l'shimcha elyon. We continue in our service with Hallelujah, page 141. Please join us.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah, 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 El Bekocho, hallelujah, hallelujah, Birkia Uzo,
Uzo. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
hallelujah, 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 Vigeburotam, hallelujah, hallelujah, Kero, good low.
Good Lord. Hallelujah.
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 Hallelujah, 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 take a shofar. Hallelujah, hallelujah, benedictinor.
Bechinor. Hallelujah.
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 Hallelujah, 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 betovu machol. Hallelujah, hallelujah, beminim ve'ugav.
Be'ugav. Hallelujah.
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 Hallelujah, 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 betzil tzalei shama. Hallelujah, hallelujah, betzil tzalei trua.
Kol hanshama
Hallelujah,
Kol hanshama
hallelujah, kol hanshama, hallelujah, hallelujah, kol hanshama, hallelujah, hallelujah. Whew. Yeah, do we get more muffins first?
Popsicles later.
Nice, nice.
We begin our Shabbat morning shacharit service.
Welcome to camp,
That was
camper.
the cue.
Did someone say
That was the
popsicles?
Every
I'm a
Shabbat,
little hungry. Can you share?
every Shabbat around what, 4:15 or
On
so?
the hill.
You get popsicles and it's story time.
Oh,
best moments of Camp Ramah.
That sounds so great. Shabbat Shalom.
11 o'clock story time with Rabbi Wolf.
Yeah, 11 o'clock story time here, no popsicle. Page 147, Shochanah.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and happy 4th of July. Shochanah marom v'kadosh shemo. בפי ישרים תתהלל ובדברי צדיקים תתברך ובלשון חסידים תתרומם ובקרב קדושים תתקדש ובמקלות רבבות עמך בית ישראל להודות, להלל, לשבח, לפעל, לרומם, לעדל, לברך, להלל ולקלס על כל דברי שירות ותשבחות דוד בן ישי עבדך משיחך ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו.
Page 148.
ברכות והודות מעתה ועד עולם ברוך אתה אדוני אל מלך גדול ותשבחות אל ההודעות אדון הנפלאות הבוחר בשירי זמרה מלך אלכי העולמים.
Please rise, middle of page 148, Torah Reading.
יתקדל ויתקדש שמי רבב ועלמא דברה קידותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. ישמי רבא מברך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמלכות שבריחו להילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה והימרו אמן.
The Baruch Hu sound on page 149.
I see Rabbi Sherman, yes.
I couldn't tell what was happening.
I'm gonna be in D minor in case you want to come in. אין כרכך אדוני אלוהינו בעולם הזה, ואין זולתך מלכנו לחיי העולם הבא. אפס פלטך גואלנו לימות המשיח, ואין דומה לך מושיענו לתחיית המתים.
The Before we begin with Ella Doan on page 151, one of the best things actually about being virtual is that we get a chance to see your comments when we take little quick breaks in between the service. And we just saw a beautiful comment by Jennifer Trilling about her father, about Bernie Catler and it being his yard site today, and how much nachas, how much joy he would receive knowing that today's theme is Camp Ramah, and how much Camp Ramah has played a part in his children and grandchildren's lives. And so we are holding Bernie in our hearts, and in his memory, I'm going to ask everyone, anyone who's listening and participating as I've asked you to do this Shabbat, if you have a special Camp Ramah memory or a special Camp Ramah story or just something that you love that has filled your soul because of the Ruach of camp, put it into the chat. Help us feel like we are literally sitting on the hill or we're at Kikar Tzion together and we're praying together for Shabbat and honor Bernie's memory in that way. We've also received requests for the different Eidah songs. I was Rosh Adat Shalom. I had no idea what I was doing.
She's still working on the words.
I'm still working on all the words for all the Eidah songs. So we'll see. Maybe later we'll do a little bit of Adat Shalom. But feel free if you had a very special moment during a particular summer and there was that Eidah that really filled you up, put that Eidah into the chat as well for me. As you heard, it was Adat Shalom. And with that, Ella Doan, page 151.
Ella Doan, al kol hamasi, baruch u'barach b'fikon neshama, gadlo v'tuvo, malei olam da'at udlu na'asov v'vinoto, ha'mikael achayot ha'kodesh v'nehedar b'chavod al ha'merkava, zechut u'mishor lifnei chiso chesed v'rachamim lifnei chevoto, tovim meyorot shebara Eloheinu yitzaram b'da'at b'vina u'baskel, koach u'gvura natan bahem liot emoshli b'kerev tehevel, meleim zivot v'hikimno gahana eziram b'chol ha'olam, smechim b'tzeitam b'sasim b'moam, v'hosim b'eimar retzon b'olam, be'er v'chavot onim lishmot olam v'rina l'zecher malchuto, karan l'shemesh v'yizrach ra'a v'hiki tzurat almana, shevach no'im lo kol tzeva ma'aron, Yiferehu gedula seratim ve'yopanim v'chayot ha'kodesh, yalai lalai lai, yalai lalai lai, yalai lalai lalai lai, lalai lai, yalai lalai lai, lai lalai lai, yalai lalai lalai lai, yalai lalai lai.
לאל אשר שבה מכל המעשים ביום השביעי, התלה בשבע כיסא כבודות.
Page 152.
תתברך פושענו לשבח מעשה ידיך, ועל מאורי אור שעשית, יפרוך הסלע.
Page 153.
וכולם פותחים בפיהם בקדושה ותורה, בשירה ובזמרה ובזמרה, בשירה ובזמרה ובזמרה, ומברכים ומשבחים, ומפארים ומעריצים, ומקדישים וממליכים. כולם כחנונים ואומרים ביראה, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלך כל הארץ כבודו, והאופנים מחיות הקודש מרעש גדול, מנסים לעומת צרפים, לעומתם משבחים ואומרים ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו.
Bottom of page 153.
Or Kaddish Hatzion Ta'ir V'nizkeh Kulanu Meheira Le'oro HaShemesh Or Kaddish Hatzion Ta'ir V'nizkeh Kulanu Meheira Le'oro Baruch Atah Adonai Yotzer HaMiorot Yotzer HaMiorot Baruch Atah Adonai Yotzer HaMiorot Yotzer HaMiorot. That's how it goes, Or Chadash Or Chadash Hatzion Ta'ir V'nizkeh Kulanu Meheira Le'oro HaShemesh Or Chadash Hatzion Ta'ir V'nizkeh Kulanu Meheira Le'oro. You got sad?
I got sad.
Like emotional?
Yeah.
Page 154, we gather our tzitzit from preparation for the Shema at the bottom of the page. V'havienu l'shalom. V'havienu l'shalom.
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 V'havienu l'shalom. Me'arba kafot ha'aretz. Yalla lai 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 lai. 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 Baruch atah Adonai Hamochero Yisrael b'ahava.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לתותחות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
We continue silently, page 156.
למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי וייתן קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Page 157.
לדור ודור הוא קיים שמו, קיים בחיסון הכל, ומלכותו ואמונתו לעד קיימת. אמת שאתה אדוני אלוהינו ונוהי אבותינו, מלכנו מלך אבותינו, גואלנו גואל אבותינו, יוצרנו צור ישועתנו, כבודנו מצילים מעולם, שמך אין אלוהים זולתך.
Four lines from the bottom of the page. Emet atahu. Emet.
Emet, 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 atahu rishon. Emet, emet, ya la 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 la, emet atahu acharon, acharon umi baladecha. Ein lanu melech goel u'Moshiach umi baladecha. Ein lanu melech goel u'Moshiach.
Emet.
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 Let's do it again. Emet, 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 la 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 yemer atahu acharon acharon umibaladecha ein lanu melech goelu Moshiach umibaladecha ein lanu melech goelu Moshiach. That's the minhag, the tradition at camp. You say emet, and we choose another different group to participate. Emet meaning the truth.
We're having so much fun today. This is great.
Good. We continue on page 158.
תהילות ליל עליון ברוך ומבורך משה מרים וישראל חנו שירה בשמחה רבה וברוך כולם מי כמוך האלים אדוני מי כמוך ישראל ופדחנו ממך יהודה וישראל גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו קדוש ישראל ברוך אתה אדוני גואל ישראל.
In a moment, the cantor will continue out loud on page 159 with our Shachrit Amidah. We're also so proud to welcome our good friend of Sinai Temple member Jay Ricebaum, but also the president of the National Ramah Commission, basically the president of all the Ramahs around the country. So we're excited that he has joined us as well for our Shachrit in our Torah service. Page 159, the Amidah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim v'Konei Hakol וזוכר חסדי אבות ומביא גואל לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ופוקד מושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיה מתים אתה רב להושיע מוריד הטל מכלכל חיים בחסד מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים סומך נופלים ורופך חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה להחיות, מתים ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי המתים.
161.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך וקרא זה ואמר, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוך כל הארץ כבודו. אז בקול רעש גדול אדיר וחזק משמיעים קול, אז בקול רעש גדול אדיר וחזק משמיעים קול, מתנשאים לעומת שרפים, מתנשאים לעומת שרפים, לעומתם ברוך יאמרו, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. ממקומך מלכנו, מלכנו תופיע, ותמלוך עלינו, כי מחכים אנחנו לך. מתי תמלוך, תמלוך בציון, בקרוב בימינו, לעולם ועד תשכון, תתגדל ותתקדש, בתוך ירושלים עירך, לדור ודור ולנצח נצחים. לעינינו תיראנה, תיראנה מלכותך, כדבר חמוד בשירי עוזך. לעינינו תיראנה, תיראנה מלכותך, כדבר חמוד בשירי עוזך. על ידי דוד, על ידי דוד, על ידי דוד, משיח צדקך. ימלוך אדוני לעולם אלוהיך ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד כל לך. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד כל לך. ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך קדושת מלאכים, ושמך אלוהינו, וידינו לא יבוש, לא יבוש לעולם ועד. לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור נגיד כל לך. לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור נגיד כל לך. כי אין מלך גדול, גדול וקדוש, גדול וקדוש אתה. יאללה לילה 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 יאללה לילה לילה לילה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
The Amidah continues silently on our own, beginning on page 162, continuing through page 166. Please take this time for your silent prayer and reflection.
Usually before our Torah service or after Amidah, we sing Oseh Shalom, but I actually want to ask Jay, you can unmute yourself for a moment if you have a favorite camp song that we can sing. This is dangerous. I hope we're able to play it. But do you have a favorite camp song that we can sing?
On you, Rabbi.
Yeah. Do I have a favorite camp song?
And only choose one.
Only choose one. My favorite camp song is Himnon Ramah.
Uh-oh. You chose
Why don't we do Oseh Shalom?
Oh my God.
I know that one.
You know what? Rabbi Jason Fruit Handler.
Yes, when in doubt, Oseh Shalom.
Has a very important theory for everybody.
Do you have a favorite melody of Oseh Shalom?
All else fails.
I will do you all a favor. I will put myself back on mute.
When all else fails, sing Oseh Shalom.
All right, you want to do C minor or D minor?
It's all you. You choose. Go ahead.
I will do D minor. Oseh Shalom in Ramah.
Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'akol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'akol Yisrael.
Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'akol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'akol Yisrael.
May God who brings peace unto the heavens also bring peace unto all of us as we celebrate this beautiful Camp Ramah Shabbat, and let us all say Amen.
We continue with Kaddish Shalem. We're found on page 167.
יתקדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה קירותי ומלכותי בחייכון ובמכון ובחייכו בית ישראל, בגלה בזמן קריב והימרו, אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך, וישתבח ויתבר בתורה מתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ותנז מלכות שם, פריקונה אלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירה ממה והימרו, Amen. Titkavat rodon malfor koiser ko dam vol ishma veyimeru. Amen. Yesh lama rab mitshmai bechayim amen vel kol Yisrael veyimeru. Amen. Hoseh shalom bimromav. Hu yaseh shalom. Ale vel kol Yisrael veyimeru. Amen.
Yasher Koach Cantor. We continue with Siddur Torah. The service for the taking out of our Sefer Torah. We're found on page 168. I just want to say for just a quick moment that Sinai Temple's relationship to Camp Ramah extends beyond the summer. Our Sinai Temple Religious School has an annual Shabbaton in which the clergy, we all love this Shabbaton so much under the direction of Danielle Casson. We have our Sinai Temple Family Shabbaton, which includes so many of our Sinai Akiba Academy families under the direction of Rebecca Small and our incredible committee. In past years, we've had our Sinai Temple Sisterhood have an annual Shabbaton at Ramah each year. Our team council has an incredible leadership retreat. Jay can see that I'm getting direction from my husband. I know that smile, Jay. Annual retreat, bringing all of our leaders at Sinai Temple, our team leaders together. Ramah is always in our hearts. And right now I can't help but think of the BKR, the Beit Knesset Ramah, during the Torah service in which we faced that beautiful ark. And so I'm hoping that you have that essence of the BKR in your mind right now as we begin our Torah service.
And what's nice about a virtual service is we can take the pipe organ from the main sanctuary and transport it all the way over to Camp Ramah, which is going to be a really wonderful connection. So we're gonna see how this works.
Miracles.
Page 168. Adonai,
Ribbono Shel Olam, Master of the universe, let us remember how to start again. When the path ahead seems so hard to find, teach us how to rise out of lament and face the day anew. Remind us that where there is life, there is strength. Where there is faith, there is hope. May we learn to find within each and every day blessing, sustenance, and love. And let us say, Amen. Amen. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol, Adonai Kadosh Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol, Adonai Kadosh Shemo.
Gadlu Adonai iti uneromema shemo yafta.
Lecha Adonai hagedu lave hagebu rave hatiferet v'manetza v'hahor.
Be glad.
Kichov hashamayim u'va'aretz, Kichov hashamayim u'va'aretz. Lecha Adonai hamamlacha, Ve'hamina ha'aseh lechol rosh romemu. Adonai Eloheinu, ve'ishtachavu lahadom raglav kadoshu. Rom Eloheinu v'shachval har kodsho, ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. You may be seated.
Hear me okay? Okay.
Yes.
So just a few words before we begin our Torah reading. So often when speaking about Chukat, one of the parshas that we read this Shabbat morning, usually rabbis speak about Moses hitting the rock. And many commentators point to this very scene as the reason why Moshe cannot enter the Holy Land. And yet what I want us to look at just for a few moments this morning is exactly what happens prior to the hitting of the rock. The beginning of Chukat reads as follows. The Israelites arrived in a body at the wilderness of Sin on the first new moon, and the people stayed at Kaddish. Miriam died there and was buried there. Below haya mayim la'edah, the community was without water, and they joined against Moshe and Aaron. So listen to that. At the exact moment that Miriam dies, the water is gone. And we're told that one of the gifts that traveled throughout the wilderness was Miriam's well. And when she died, that well dried up, and the people were left with an unquenchable thirst. But we're told that this was no ordinary well. The Tosefta on Masechet Sukkah explains, wherever Bnei Yisrael encamped, that well was always opposite them, meaning the people of Israel could always see it. And it's so beautiful to think of this imagery. What we're told is that the Israelites would actually sing to the well. And when they would sing, the water would pour forth, becoming something like a great river. And it was a constant, tangible reminder that even in this great, barren vastness of the wilderness, they were not alone. I think the water, and moreover Miriam's presence, served as a greater function than providing nutrients. I think she served as a symbol of hope, the ability to continue to navigate the darkness when everything else seemed bleak. The Lubavitcher Rebbe shared the following precisely about Miriam and water. He says that a person may ingest the ingredients of life, but these will not vitalize him without the fluids that course through his body. The food swallowed by the stomach and the oxygen drawn in by the lungs must now be transported through the body and made to saturate its every cell. But therein lies the spiritual significance of Miriam's role as Israel's provider of water. He says that Miriam first appears in the Torah as a children's nurse, one who distills adult food for the consumption of a child, one who trains and educates a growing human being, one who's able to process the raw materials of life to meet the specific needs of her charge's age and phase of development. He says that Miriam's well is the vital fluid of Israel's spiritual life. The waters of Miriam transport and apply the nutrients of Torah and the abstractions of faith to each individual on his or her particular level. Now, if I dare to extend the Rebbe's words, I think that Miriam helped the people of Israel to translate the mundane moments into moments of holiness, moments of connection, the ability to see beyond the hurdles set before them and rise despite hardship and hindrance. And to lose that person, that's where she died, in the wilderness. To lose that person, that role model, the figure in your life can be devastating. In fact, as we see in the Torah, it turns people against each other. It turns the people against Moshe and against God. The loss of hope can feel like a death sentence. And while I could leave us here on this Shabbat morning, I know that many of us feel like the Israelites and Moshe. Right now, at the beginning of July, some of us feel hopeless, and we're seeking spiritual guidance. And we forget that Miriam, yes, she was a prophetess, but she was merely a human being, someone who took the gifts that God imbued within her and guided a nation until her last day on earth. We often look to others for that guidance, for that support, for that nurturing hand. But with Miriam's death, something we read year after year and sometimes don't mention at all, I think right now on this Shabbat, we are meant to look within, to reveal the well of water that flows within each and every one of us. And remember that hope isn't something to be discovered in someone else, but hope is something to be released within our very being. And when you find your own well of hope, waters yearning to be set free, do me a favor this Shabbat. Share that hope with someone else. Let Miriam's hand continue through yours. Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.
In just a moment, Rabbi Sherman will read the Torah reading from Hukat on page 880. 880, Bamidbar, chapter 19, verse 1. But first, we'd like to call Jay back up onto the screen to share a few words. Shabbat shalom, Jay.
Shabbat shalom, rabbis. It's so wonderful to be here on this Shabbat celebrating Camp Ramah. Of course, our beloved Camp Ramah in Ojai. Also, we have 10 overnight camps throughout North America. We have 4 day camps, and we have our wonderful Israel programs. We also celebrate the amazing relationship, as you spoke about earlier, between Sinai Temple and Camp Ramah in Ojai. We share many great leaders, and it's been a wonderful, wonderful relationship. Ultimately, Camp Ramah is about the joy of Jewish community, and we live that at camp in such a concentrated form that it nourishes our souls for the rest of our lives. We have this amazing Ramah experience with all of our friends, with all the wonderful activities that go on at camp, and then we try and recreate that joy of Jewish life that we find at camp through our lives and our temples and our Jewish institutions. Many call Ramah the Jewish leadership machine. And we see that evident today in both of you. We also see that in our own Rabbi Wolpe, who I had the pleasure of working under when David was a Rosh Edah, Rabbi Wolpe was a Rosh Edah, and I was a counselor in his Edah. It's amazing to be here. I actually have a picture of my first Edah from camp.
Wow.
And all I wanted to be was part of the Sinai group, because the Sinai group always was the biggest contingency, the most wonderful kids, and it really is the fulfillment of a dream to be here at Sinai now with you, with David Wolpe, and celebrating our beloved Camp Ramah. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
I want to thank Jay for that beautiful tribute. He was a tremendous counselor. It was a joy working with him year after year. And he even on days off used to let me drive his car. So
beautiful.
I remember those old days very well. And I'm glad we are still here to celebrate them and to enable people who are a little younger than we are to have wonderful times like we did.
Beautiful.
Shabbat shalom, Jay.
Shabbat shalom. Tara's even here.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Shabbat shalom to Tara.
Shabbat shalom, Tara. We were all there together many years ago.
For those who are just beginning to watch, Jay Reisbaum is the president of the National Ramah Commission. And Jay, just to take off from your beautiful words, I'd like to make a challenge to Sinai Temple that next summer, we continue to be the biggest contingency at Camp Ramah. So send in your applications already for next summer. Hold your spot because I know many will be running to those hills ready to have that camp experience. But let's get Sinai Temple onto that challenge.
Amen.
And with that, Jay.
Aliyah. And by the way, I would not be standing here without Camp Ramah. My parents met at Camp Ramah in the Pocono Mountains. My dad was Rosh Sport back in the day.
Yeah.
The Aliyah, Jay Reisbaum.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato, Baruch Atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe v'Aaron lemor, Zod chukat haTorah asher tiva Adonai lemor, Daber el bnei Yisrael. Vayikchu elecha para aduma temima, asher ein bamum, asher lo ala aleha ol. ונתתם אותה אל אלעזר הכהן, והוציא אותו מחוץ למחנה, ושחט אותה לפניו, ולקח אלעזר הכהן מדמה באצבעו, ויזיל נוכח פני אוהל המועד מדמה 7 פעמים, ושרף את הפרה לעיניו ותורה ובשרה וטמא פרשה ישרוף. ולקח הכהן את ארז ואזור ושנית תולד והשליך על תוך שרפת הפרה, וחיפש בגדיו הכהן ורחץ בשרו במים, ואחר יבוא למחנה וטימא הכהן עד הערב, אז שרף אותה יכבס בגדיו במים, ורחץ בשרו במים וטימא עד הערב, יאסף איש טהור את אפר הפרה והניח מחוץ למחנה במקום טהור, והייתה ועדת בני ישראל משמרת למי נידח חטאתי, וכיבס אסף את אפר הפרה בגדיו וטימא עד הערב, והייתה לבני ישראל ולגר אגר בתוכם חוקת עולם, הנוגע במלך ונפש אדם וטמא 7 ימים, והתחתה בו ביום השלישי, ביום השביעי תרבים לו יחטא, וממלוא יחטא, היום השלישי יום השביעי לא ייתר, כנוגע במת בנפש האדם אשר ימות, לא יחטא משכן אדוני, טימא ונכרתה נפש ההיא מישראל, כי מי נידה לו זרק עליו טמא, יהיה עוד טומאתו בו, זאת התורה אדם ימות באוהל, כל הבא אל האוהל וכל אשר באוהל יטמא 7 ימים, וכל כלי פתוח אשר אין סמי פתיח עליו טמא הוא, וכל אשר יגע פני השדה, וכל החרב או במת או בעצם אדם או בקבר, יטמא 7 ימים, ולקחו לטמא מעפר שרפת החטאת, ונתן עליו מים חיים אל כלי. Second Aliyah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu, Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yasher koach.
Baruch tiyeh.
It's at this point in our service in which we offer Misha Berach Lefolim, a blessing of healing upon those who are ill within our congregational and extended community. And so for those who would like to offer a name into the chat or say that person's name out loud, we are praying as one Kehillah Kedosha, one holy Eidah, one holy community.
שלח רפואה שלמה לכל עמך, בתוך כל יושבי תבל, ונאמר אמן.
We pray for healing for Maria Luisa Escobar, Chaim ben Kokab, Shmuel Hebroni ben Monovar, Yaakov Yonah HaKohen ben Rachel Shoshana, Patricia Walden, Miriam bat Lillian, Talia Etta bat Tova Bayoni, Medi Konefi, Eliasha ben Sarah, Nasha bat Devorah, Devorah bat Masha, Steve ben Hadassah, Rivka bat Yehudit, Joan Roberts, Esther bat Monovar, Amnon Avidor ben Chana, Nachum ben Malka, Rachalea bat Chanachuna, Eva Kelman, Menashe ben Shazan Sarah, Michael ben Tova ve'Eliyahu, Shoshana bat Chanachaya ve'Ariel, Dylan Shear, Gila Nisan bat Mazel, and all of the names that you hold in your heart or you're writing into the chat right now. Refuah Shlema.
Great source of strength, send healing of body and spirit to all who suffer in pain. Bless all who are ill, and let us say Amen. We are going to lift the Torah. Sorry, we are down one microphone, so we're being portable here. Cantor, you sing, I lift.
I can do that.
Page 174.
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה. עץ חיים היא למחזיקים בה ותומכי המאושר. עץ חיים היא למחזיקים בה ותומכי המאושר. דרכיה דרכי נועם בכל נתיבותיה שלום. דרכיה דרכי נועם בכל נתיבותיה שלום.
You may be seated. We continue back in our red siddurim in our Lev Shalem prayer books, a prayer for our country on this 4th of July on our Independence Day. Please read with me, middle of that page 177. Our God and God of our ancestors, with mercy accept our prayer on behalf of our country and its government. Pour out your blessing upon this land, upon its inhabitants, upon its leaders, its judges, officers, and officials who faithfully devote themselves to the needs of the public. Help them understand the rules of justice you have decreed, so that peace and security, happiness and freedom will never depart from our land. We continue with a prayer for the state of Israel. We're found on page 178.
Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Sur Yisrael ve'kohalo. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Sur Yisrael ve'kohalo.
Avinu Sheba Shamayim, stronghold and redeemer of the people Israel. Bless the state of Israel that it may be the beginning of our redemption. Shield it with your love. Spread over it the shelter of your peace. Guide its leaders and advisors with your light and your truth. Help them with your good counsel. Strengthen the hands of those who defend our holy land. Deliver them. Crown their efforts with triumph. Bless the land with peace and its inhabitants with lasting joy. And let us say, Amen.
Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Sur Yisrael ve'kohalo. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Sur Yisrael ve'kohalo.
Please rise as we return our Sefer Torah to the Ark. Yahalelu is found on page 183.
יהללו את שם אדוני כי נשגב שמו לבדו. הודו על ארץ ושמיים וירם קרן לעמו. תהילה לכל חסידיו לבני ישראל עם קרובו. Hallelujah, hallelujah, unucho yomar. Ki lekach tov natati lachem,
seated. Usually in our service at this time before Musaf, we invite different guests from around the world to come and address us. And as we are celebrating Camp Ramah Shabbat, we are honored this morning to hear words from Rabbi Joe Menashe, Rabbi of Camp Ramah, but also special to Sinai Temple, a father in our day school of Sinai Akiba Academy. So before our Musaf service, first we are going to hear words from Rabbi Joe Menashe, who we all love so much. Rabbi Joe.
To my fellow Sinai Akiba parents, Sinai Temple members, and Mishpachot Ramah families, I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom. Good morning. So what do a camp bunk at Srif, our homes during the COVID era, and Moses' tent all have in common? Well, it's the same people every day, no breaks from each other, in a bunk, 24 hours, 7 days a week for weeks. During the COVID era, we are all in our homes, seems like for months, with limited outside contact. And for Moses in the desert, his tent was filled with the same people coming in and incessantly complaining for 40 years. And in all three of these situations, they can certainly lead to moments of tension, even bursts of anger and frustration. And the days are highlighted with lots of kvetching about snacks, meals, cleaning, drinks, if it's hot or cold. And in this week's Parsha, we see one of the most famous moments of anger boiling over. And it's from Moses when people are complaining about not having anything to drink, and he and Aaron respond in anger. And instead of speaking to the rock, he hits the rock pamayim, twice. And at camp, these moments happen, and they're gonna happen when frustration builds up. And at camp, we try and see when this stuff happens from a perspective of a growth mindset, how we can learn and grow from such experiences. So what can we learn from Moses' experience to help us in our current moments of frustration, tension, and anger? Before hitting the rock, Moses yelled at the people, Shimu na hamorim, hamin hasela hazeh notzi lachem mayim. Listen, you rebels, shall we get water for you from this rock? One of the commentators said that Moses and Aaron were actually saying, Yesh lanu koach lotzi lachem mayim mimenu. We have the strength to bring water from it. Humans don't have strength to bring water from a rock. It's God. Moses and Aaron forgot in their anger that real strength is in partnership. And herein lies our growth mindset lesson. During these times of COVID, we all will have challenging moments. We're going to get frustrated with each other. We're going to get down. We might get a little angry like Moses and Aaron. But let's not forget that our strength comes from sacred partnerships. It's community, like Sinai Temple and Machane Ramah. It's relationships, whether we are physically with people or we're physically distanced from them. It's those connections with family and friends. It's faith, it's emunah, it's a connection to God, and it's our Jewish values and tradition, tefillah, chesed, tzedakah. When we have moments of struggle these days, let's learn to lean in to the sacred partnerships and therefore derive enduring koach, enduring strength. Wish you all a Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom to Rabbi Joe, and we encourage all of you to, if you're watching on YouTube or watching on Facebook, to hit share so that we can spread the joy of Shabbat and also the Ruach of Camp Ramah. And we just are so thrilled for that partnership with Rabbi Joe, with Camp Ramah. And what we're going to do now is we have some special favorite moments of Camp Ramah we want to share with all of you from some of our Sinai Temple members.
What was my favorite moment at Camp Ramah? It was when I was a counselor in Nitzanim. Little kids, and at night, before they fell asleep, I would tell them stories. Some of those little kids have grown up now to be rabbis. And it was in telling them stories and realizing how much I loved to tell stories that I think I became a rabbi too.
When I think about my favorite moments at Camp Ramah, I think of Friday Night Oneg, singing and dancing with my entire Eidah as we welcomed in Shabbat with so much ruach.
My favorite thing in Camp Ramah is going in the water slide and jumping in the pool.
Hi, my name is Anna Stern. I'm a Sinai Kiva alumna, and I attended Camp Ramah in California as a camper and a staff member for 14 summers. And my favorite part of Camp Ramah is just all of the wonderful relationships I've made with my counselors and then my own campers and all the wonderful, wonderful people who make Camp Ramah my home.
When we think of our favorite moments at Camp Ramah, we think of being at Tiulim with all of our friends.
We also think of color wars and how much fun we had doing so many challenges.
And we also have fun playing a lot of sports and games with our friends in the cabins and tents.
My name is Leah. I'm in Mahon, and I have to say that my favorite part of camp is Smirot on Saturday night before Havdalah. We're all singing together, and it's just so magical, and you really can't get that environment anywhere else.
My favorite moment of Camp Ramah is color wars.
One of my favorite things about Ramah is when I went for summer camp, I got to play with my friends in my bunk anytime that I woke up and anytime that I had free time.
One of my favorite moments at Ramah was always Shabbat. I love the peace and quiet, and I love the time to be with my friends on the hill. And I also love meeting this guy.
And even though that's the last thing she said, my first thing is meeting her and having these Ramah progeny with us.
Goodbye.
As we often say at Camp Ramah, there is no place in the world like Camp Ramah, and we hope you got a taste of our love for Camp Ramah here at Sinai Temple. And we continue with our Musaf service. Cantor Feldman will lead us, middle of page 184.
It is so hard to follow. Oh, what a beautiful video.
It just means you got to send Asher to Camp Ramah. That's the
God willing one day. Please rise, middle of 184. יתקדש, יתקדש שמי רבה, ועל מה דברה קידותי, וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון ובמכון ובחייך בית ישראל, ועגלה בזמן קריב והימרו, אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך, יתברך, וישתבח, ויתפאר, ויתפרוע, ויתנשא, ויתהדר, ויתעלה, ויתלש, מלכותשה, בריחו, לילה מקום יחדה בשירתה, Tushbechata v'nechmata d'amiram yonma ve'imeru. Amen. We join together for the beginning of our Musaf Amidah, pages 185 and 186. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Hakol, Ve'zocher Chasdei Avot, U'meri Goel, בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ופוקד ומושיע מגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה אתה הגיבור לעולם אדוני מחיי מתים אתה רב מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופף עולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עבר. מי כמוך בגבורות, מי כמוך בגבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך מימית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. We join together for our Kedusha, page 187. Adonai Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. L'edore vador, l'edore vador, l'edore vador, nagi god elecha, un netzach netzachim, un netzach netzachim, kedushat chanatish, l'edore vador, l'edore vador, l'edore vador, nagid god elecha, un netzach netzachim, un netzach netzachim, kedushat chanakdish, v'shivchacha Eloheinu, mipinu lo yamush le'olam vaed, ki melech gadol, melech gadol, v'kadosh ata, l'edore vador, l'edore vador, l'edore vador, nagid god elecha, un netzach netzachim, un netzach netzachim, kedushat chanakdish, baruch atah Adonai. We continue praying the remainder of the Amidah privately, pages 188 through 192. Please take this time for your private prayer. If you're still praying your Amidah, please continue at your own pace. We turn ahead or scroll down to page 203 as our service continues with Kaddish Shalem. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemeid haba, בעלמא דברה קירותי וימליך מלכותי בחיי חול ובמחול ובחי לכל בית ישראל ועגלה בזמן קריב וימרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מברך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתלש בקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דבר ימיה במה והימרו אמן תתקבל צלותון ומלכון לכל ישראל כל דם ובוד ושמי והימרו אמן יהי שלמה רבה מן שמי וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל והימרו אמן עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל והימרו Amen. Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi Wolpe.
Shabbat Shalom, Cantor Feldman. It's not easy to distinguish an adult from a child just by looking at someone or listening to them briefly because so much is involved in growing up. And one of the ways, of course, that you can distinguish is the old way, which is a grown-up is somebody who is not happy to hear that the telephone is for them. In other words, it is the press of obligations and responsibilities that makes a grown-up, and it is generally the freedom, maybe not school time, but the general freedom from obligations, responsibilities, and worries that we think of as characterizing childhood. Allied to that, though, I want to give you a different definition. And that is that a grown-up is someone who understands that even the things that you care most deeply about and the people that you admire most passionately are broken and flawed. In childhood, we imagine maybe that our parents or the heroes we read about are in some sense perfect until the great disillusionment comes. So I wrote a book about King David, and King David in children's books is this wonderful, mighty hero. But when you read the Torah, the Tanakh, the book of Samuel, and you see who David was, you recognize that like all human beings, he carried his brokenness next to his wholeness, his flaws next to his gifts. And yet he was a hero. This Shabbat, we read about Moshe. Moshe is not allowed to go into the promised land. Moshe is not a perfect person. Moshe sins, and yet he is Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, our teacher. I bring this up today because today is July 4th. And today we celebrate the United States of America, but if we are grown-ups, we celebrate it differently than the way we celebrated it when we were children. When we were children, we didn't learn, at least not when I was a child, of what happened to the Native Americans when the Europeans came here. We didn't learn about the deliberate spread of disease, or about the broken treaties, or about the massacres. We didn't learn that because people wanted us to admire America and think the best of it. We learned about slavery, but we didn't learn about it in all of the painful, gory, cruel, repeated details that in fact slavery embodied. We didn't learn that there were other countries like Britain that put an end to slavery long before America and without a civil war. We didn't learn that because we learned America was the best and did things the best. And that's how we were supposed to worship our country. I didn't learn growing up even as a child, that there were still Jim Crow laws in this country. When I was still alive, Jim Crow laws still existed in the United States of America. But I didn't learn that as a child, because we wanted to think of our country as the last great hope of humanity, and we were afraid that we could not be adults. And that if we knew the truth, we would lose the patriotism and the worship. I don't know how many of you are aware, though, that the greatest of our leaders have not seen our country in black and white. And I mean that in all senses. They have understood that a flawed country can still be a great country. That a place that has to grow is a place that is alive. And so I bring you back to 1852, July 4th, when one of the greatest orators of the time, Frederick Douglass, spoke as follows: "The sunlight that brought life and healing to you has brought stripes and death to me. The 4th of July is yours, not mine. You may rejoice, I must mourn. To drag a man in fetters into the grand illuminated temple of liberty and call upon him to join in joyous anthems were inhuman mockery and sacrilegious irony. Do you mean, citizens, to mock me by asking me to speak today?" And you can understand Douglass's dismay when you understand how many of his fellow African Americans were enslaved in the country that he speaks. But that wasn't the end of his speech. This is what he goes on to say: "Fellow citizens, I am not wanting in respect for the fathers of this republic. The signers of the Declaration of Independence were brave men. They were great men too. It doesn't often happen to a nation to raise at one time such a number of truly great men." Remember who he's talking about: Franklin and Jefferson and Washington and Adams and Hamilton and on and on. "He who will intelligently lay down his life for his country is a man whom it is not in human nature to despise. Your fathers staked their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor on the cause of their country." Then Douglass continues, 1852, a former slave spoke these words: "They were peacemen, but they preferred revolution to peaceful submission to bondage. They were quiet men, but they did not shrink from agitating against oppression. They showed forbearance, but they knew its limits. They believed in order, but not in the order of tyranny. With them, nothing was settled that was not right. With them, justice, liberty, and humanity were final, not slavery and oppression. You may well cherish the memory of such men. They were great in their day and their generation. How unlike the politicians of an hour. Their statesmanship looked beyond the passing moment and stretched away in strength to the distant future. They seized upon eternal principles and set a glorious example in their defense. Mark them. Remember that this is an African American in 1852 talking about the people who designed the system that enslaved so many of his brothers and sisters. But he sees their greatness as he sees their flaws. He understands their aspiration even as he feels his own affliction. He is not a child. What pains me about so much of the debate in America is that it's being conducted by children, by people who either can admit no flaw or who can admit no virtue. Does America have things to be ashamed about? Of course, America has things to be ashamed about. Anyone who denies that is a child. Travel the world. Listen to what America has done in various countries, and some of it will make you ashamed. Think about the treatment of African Americans for hundreds of years in this country. You must be ashamed. But if all you feel is shame, you're a child. Travel the world. Listen to how America has acted in other countries and feel proud. Think of the struggles that people in this nation have gone through for liberty and freedom, and to overturn tyranny both without and within, and you must be proud. I think this is a deeply flawed country. I also think it is the greatest nation on earth. And I don't find those two propositions incompatible with one another. I know as a Jew that if you are Jewish and you are not grateful to the United States of America, you know no history. Are there things that America has to be ashamed about with regard to the Jewish people? To what we didn't and could have done to save more Jews in the Second World War? Absolutely. It's never easy. It's never simple. It's never unidirectional. People are complicated and they're flawed, and we could have done more. But I also know that that's the words of a Jew on the Statue of Liberty, and that my great-grandparents and so many others looked at that statue and knew that for the first time, they had found a place they could call home. I know that this country has stood with the true homeland of the Jewish people, with the state of Israel, and that there would be no state of Israel were there not a United States of America. I know that this country is greater than its accomplishments, but that its accomplishments are extraordinary. That we have established the finest centers of learning, that we have brought minorities from all over the world to create this tremendous salad of people who together are making their way forward. You may like or be disappointed or venerate or execrate this leader or this administration or that administration. But one of the things that makes America America is the government is never the people. The people are the people. And we have seen leaders come and go, and we have seen problems come and go. And we have endured and flourished in a way that was unimaginable to those first founders of our nation. That was unimaginable even to Benjamin Franklin, who, as he left the Constitutional Convention and was asked by a woman, "What do we have, Mr. Franklin?" said, "We have a republic, madam, if we can keep it." And we have kept it. Through wars, through strife, through all sorts of difficulty. We are called upon to sympathize and understand the plight of those who do not find America the America they want it to be, but also to remind ourselves that the America that is a place unprecedented in history. And so I bring you to one other orator, a speaker whose stature is at least equal with that of Frederick Douglass. and that is Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. In his famous letter from the Birmingham jail, he writes as follows: "We will reach the goal of freedom in Birmingham and all over the nation because the goal of America is freedom. Abused and scorned though we may be, our destiny is tied up with America's destiny." So to all of us showered with the blessing of this free and good nation, if it is not yet what you wish it to be, that is understood. And the answer that we give as people who understand that everything is fractured and flawed and broken is, let us work together to continue to fulfill the promise of this good and great land. Let us together declare, God bless America. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom and Yasher Koach to Rabbi Wolpe. We continue with Ein Keloheinu, page 204.
Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadoneinu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Micheloheinu, Michadoneinu, Michemalkeinu, Michemoshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adoneinu, Nodel Malkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adoneinu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adoneinu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu, Atahu Shekiru Avoteinu, Lefanecha Eketoret Hasarim. Rise for the Aleinu, page 205. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, Ateit gedula liotzeher breshit, Shelo asanu g'goyei haratzot, Velo samanu k'nishmachot ha'adama, Shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, V'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, K'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'mohodim, Lifnei melech Malchei HaMachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
There's a yellow keeper.
נאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
To Asher on
Hi,
this
Asher.
Aleinu.
Hi. We had Roz Goldstein in the chat said that she wanted Asher to accidentally appear, so here he is to say hi and Shabbat Shalom.
Hi, Asher.
Hi, rabbis.
Roz for the requests. Any other guest appearances? Just please write in the chat. We'll try and find those people.
We will try and do it.
We recall with affection those who no longer walk this earth, grateful to God for the gift of their lives, for their sweet companionship, and for their cherished memories which endure. May God comfort all who mourn. We recall those yortzites will be observed during this coming week. Dan Ashel, Mark Barvin, Yehuda Barzel, Rachalea Beckman, Matilda Toby Berenbaum, Judith Boran, Lazarus Bronfeld, Theodore S. Cowan, Ray Kravich, Harriet Cutler, Ibrahim Danesh Garpur, Joseph Einberg, Nissan Eliassi, Harry Evans, Narula Faranik, Rosalie Funk. Fanny Fox, Max Blick, Stephen H. Gold, Elaine Michelin Gordon, Yael Harari, Henry Havis, Morris Hector, Sylvia Hollander, Marie Hornstein, Monica Hornstein, Rachel Israel, Jerome Janger, Bernie Catler, Miriam Lesner, Harriet Light, Herman Markovitz, Sherwin Mamel, Akra Moluk Rose Mokhtarzadeh, Mordechai More, Manusher Nasirzadeh, Joseph Parker, Mel Pevsnik, Jean Powell, Azizola Rubin, Kevin Richter, Mokhtarem K. Rodef Shalom, Sidney Rosen, Joseph Rostholder, Ernest Roth, Beverly Rothstein, Shirley Salem, Moshe Samnan Daljifar, Eric Schmier, Anna Sherman, Sheldon Schott, Estra Schaefer, Leo Shapiro, Stephen Shapley, Edmund Sherman, Sarah Simontob, Louis Sklar, Ruth Slott, Edith Smith, Maurice Smith, Shelley Sutnick, Jacob Swartz, Cecile Swedlin Berman, Rose Weiss Tenzer, Homa Tubi, Samuel Wall, Norman Weinstein, David Wilstein, Isaac Yellen, Shakrola Yusian, Samuel T. Euster, Betty Zimmerman. We ask if you have a name to add at this moment, please do so in the chat, either on YouTube or Facebook, to also memorialize those who have passed during this coming week. We ask those in mourning to turn to page 207, and rise to sanctify God's holy name in the words of the Mourners Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalma divara chirute v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chaye v'chol Beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kari v'maru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mivorach le'olam u'lomei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpawar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei v'kudesha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiram b'yalma v'maru, amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'maru, amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'maru, amen. May God who brings peace unto heavens bring peace unto all those who mourn. And let us all say, amen. We're going to conclude our service momentarily with a very special song to celebrate this great country of America. First, some announcements. I know we have people from near and far. I saw people this morning from Tennessee and Pennsylvania and New York and Florida. I believe from England and Brazil. It's truly a pleasure for everybody to connect to Sinai Temple. And most importantly, our own Sinai Temple members who join us every single Shabbat and every single day, who literally allow this place to function, both physically and also, as importantly, virtually at this moment. Rabbi Guzik.
Cantor Feldman, you're gonna have to tell me if you can hear me okay.
Try again.
Can you hear me okay?
You're a little far away, but I can still hear you.
Okay. Just quickly, we want to bring you greetings from our Sinai Temple president, from Jamie Berman, our executive director, Howard Lessner, the entire board of directors, and of course, our Sinai Temple clergy and staff. Actually, I noticed Rabbi Sherman read Mickey Lessner's name. It's the yard site of Howard Lessner's mother. So Howard, we're thinking about you as always on this Shabbat. And as Rabbi Sherman mentioned, we value our members near and far. And so we very much welcome your membership, and your commitment to our community does not go unnoticed. We're deeply grateful for your commitment and your dedication. And we ask for those who are interested in joining this very special community, and I hope that you felt that unique flavor and tenor of Sinai Temple this Shabbat. We welcome your membership, and we welcome the chance to embrace you in what we think of as just a remarkable community. So Shabbat Shalom to all of you. Cantor Feldman.
Shabbat Shalom. So for those of you who are new to our community and watching us only on YouTube or on Facebook Live, you notice that I have accompaniment tracks, and they're actually live recordings from our organist and choir director, Ariel Cohen. And this year is a very special year for Ariel Cohen. He actually became the organist and choir director of Sinai Temple back in 1974. But a few years before that, he began working at Sinai Temple as a bar bat mitzvah tutor. He's a Ben Bite. He grew up in our congregation, and this year marks his Jubilee year, his 50th year of employment at Sinai Temple. So we are so honored and blessed to have Ariel Cohen as part of our team. I know he has worked with thousands of B'nai Mitzvah. He's been a wonderful colleague and a friend to me, and also a mentor. So we couldn't be doing this without Mr. Ariel Cohen. So in honor of Yom HaAmerika, the American Independence Day, it's hard to say it in English, July 4th, we have the original setting of God Bless America. And the story of God Bless America is that it was first debuted in, I believe, 1938, and immediately became so popular it was almost like a new national anthem, composed by Irving Berlin, which was not his real name. His real name was Yisroel Beilin, the son of a cantor, but one of the most important contributors to American music. God Bless America, with Mr. Ariel Cohen on the organ. While the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us swear allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair, as we raise our voices in a solemn prayer. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home is sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home. My home sweet
Hello, everyone. I have not been doing announcements during the time that we've been all in our offices, but there is one announcement that I would like to make, and one appeal in the announcement, which is that, as you all know, this is an extremely difficult time for individuals, for communities, for a nation, for a world. And this is a time when we need to sustain community. It is easy to let communities fall apart when we're isolated in our homes, but we have been doing everything we can to keep our community together, reaching out with calls, with Zooms, with classes, with videos, with singing, everything we can do. We're asking you to help us by doing your part. If you are a member of a synagogue, renew your membership and do it now. We are counting on you. We need you. And we believe really deeply that you need us. Year after year, we're here. And we certainly understand those of you who need some kind of help in order to renew your membership, and we invite you to contact us, and we will do our best. But please remember, The Jewish people called Yisrael Arevim Zebazeh. We have to take care of one another. We want to keep everything that we have to give you going throughout this time, however long it lasts. So we ask you to give us the means to do so by rejoining our synagogue, by being a part of us and everything we do, as we feel a part of you. God bless you. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
Can't do Rishamru?
We can do that. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בריחים לעולם. ביני ובני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בריחים לעולם.
כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בריחים לעולם.
וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בריחים לעולם.
Okay, Merachanai Shema v'yekadsheu sabri.
לחיים.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen.
Ribbono Shel Olam, Master of the universe, imbue within each and every one of the citizens of these great United States of America a sense of responsibility, a sense of generosity of spirit, and a sense of gratitude for living in this land of freedom. On this Shabbat, may we not take those gifts for granted. May we reach out to one another as citizens of this country, and as well, Jews responsible for one another. And let us say, Amen.
Amen.
Shabbat Shalom,
Shabbat
and
Shalom.
God bless America.
Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.